What does it mean to dream of someone you like? You may often dream about someone and wake up needing answers about why you about that specific person. Your dreams can involve somebody that you are quite attracted to. You might even think that this person likes you or that you love this person, and this person can be a colleague at work or a schoolmate. It could also be a person you actually have a crush on. This is a very puzzling dream because it has a lot of emotions weaving through it. A lot of it is imagined, and it can be rooted in some sort of actual desire you may have for that person. If you're like most people and you dream about someone you like, you don't know what exactly you're dealing with. And that's what makes this dream so hard to figure out. In this dream interpretation, we're going to focus on the attraction. This is the main motif of dreaming about someone you like. It's not so much the specific person, but the fact that you are attracted to that person. And this attraction uses many different symbols. These can be starting points like you like their eyes, hands, voice, or what you think their character is. All of these are contextual clues as to what your subconscious is really telling you about your waking life. Remember, these are all symbols and signals from your subconscious that you may have been overlooking, ignoring, or plainly misunderstanding. All this time, your subconscious is trying to send you signals and you're not connecting the dots because it's not all that important to you or something else is taking priority. In this dream interpretation, we're going to dive right in and figure it all out by connecting the dots. And it's all about attraction. What does it mean when you dream of someone you like? Dreaming about someone you like can reflect attraction or desire for that person, and but not necessarily on a romantic level. There's just something about this person that you desire. Maybe you want to be like them. Maybe you like the situation that they're going through. Maybe they have something that you wish you had. Just because you're attracted to them in your dream doesn't mean that this attraction is romantic in nature. Remember, you can be attracted to somebody because they are living the life you'd like to live. Maybe they have some sort of ability or trait that you wish you had. But this is a far cry from wanting to be romantically involved with that person. Because when you are in a romantic relationship, you're not necessarily trying to take over that person or trying to get what they have. Instead, they complete you. Instead, they do something for you that helps you become a better person. And most importantly, you bring something to the table for them. You desire them more than what they can do for you. That's how you know if you are truly romantically interested in somebody. There's a certain amount of selflessness there. You love people because they are who they are, not because of what they can do for you, what they bring to the table, or what they can somehow benefit or cause to benefit you. Do you see how this works? Do you see how this fits with selflessness? So when you see yourself dreaming about someone you like in your dream, this speaks more to your desires. Are you desiring the right things in life? Are you doing something about the things that you desire? What is your attitude towards striving or aspiring or hoping and wishing? A lot of people are under the impression that they have goals. They think that they have direction in life. In reality, they're just dreaming with their eyes wide open because they never let their hopes, wishes, and dreams translate into a strong enough desire for them to actually take action on a day to day basis. Start thinking along these themes. If the main focus of your dream is your attraction to this person, what does it mean when you dream about someone you like to the point that you have fallen in love with them? The good news about these types of dreams is that they are rarely prophetic. While from time to time you may experience this type of dream because you are actually falling in love with somebody, but for the most part, this has something to do with commitment. It's one thing to desire certain situations, certain outcomes, or certain scenarios in life. Maybe you thought about going back to school or getting a degree or getting a dream job. Whatever the case may be, you're like most people. You think about all these things, and you at the back of your head, you're wondering, I wonder how much better my life would be. if this happened or if I had that. All of us go through this type of thinking pattern. But what separates people who go places in life and who actually live life to the fullest is the commitment and dedication to actually pushing through with those dreams. Because you can't just focus on the final outcome. You can't just visualize yourself walking on that stage with that diploma or turning the key and sitting down in that comfy chair in the corner office of a big corporate building. There are a lot of things that have to happen between your present life and the way it's going and where you want to be. This applies across the board. I'm not just talking about your money, your education, your social status. I'm also talking about your relationships. I'm also talking about your physical health. Maybe you want to lose weight. Maybe you want to look better when you look into the mirror. And this is where commitment comes in. And when you see yourself falling in love with somebody in your dream to the point that you can tell that this is real romantic love, your subconscious is telling you that this is a golden opportunity for you to look at the things that you've always hoped and wished for and start thinking about making a decision. This is not just a simple mental state where you say to yourself, I have no other options, so I might as well go through with this. That's not good enough. That is not strong enough. You have to purposely and specifically decide to put everything you've got into that goal. Can you make that decision? Are you in love enough with this alternate reality to put in the hope, to put in the focus, to put in the sacrifice to turn it into reality? This is not a small thing. This is not one of those things that you think about from day to day and just forget about the next day. A lot of people look at their hopes and wishes and dreams that way, and that's why they remain hopes and wishes. This is a decision. And just like any decision, you have to stick with it. There are no other options. You cannot give yourself the luxury of having other options. Either you stick with this and go all the way through, whether it succeeds or fails, or you just don't do it. That's the kind of thinking you should have when it comes to your hopes and dreams. Otherwise, they're just going to remain these fanciful ideas that are floating in your head with no real effect on your life. What does it mean when you see your crush in your dreams? If you see somebody you have a crush on and this person is the central focus of your dreams, this can indicate that you've been thinking a lot about this person. There may be romantic possibilities, but certain things are just getting in the way. Maybe that person has a boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe you haven't gotten over your past relationship. But if this is not an actual crush and you are visualizing somebody that you had an intense crush on in your dream, your subconscious is trying to let you know that there are all sorts of ideas in your head or old mindsets that are draining a lot of your psychic energy. This actually is the bigger issue because if you can't focus, if you can't move on, if you can't sacrifice to make your dreams come true, a lot of the times this is because you still lack closure regarding the last time you went after your dream job. You put in the time, effort, and energy to complete a big project, or you invested a lot of money and things went south. Whatever the case may be, there was something that happened in the past that is sucking up a lot of your energy because there is no closure yet. And before you fall in love with somebody, again, I'm talking about symbolism. You have to first let go. First have to move on. And your subconscious is telling you that if you are experiencing any kind of obstacle and things aren't working out in a certain area of your life, maybe it's because you're hanging on to an old mindset or old belief system that are limiting you. It's not helping you. In fact, it's getting in the way. It's draining a lot of energy and it doesn't really line up to where you want to go. You have to find these beliefs. You have to be clear about what these mindsets are and just get over them. Be clear as to why they're not serving you and why you have to let them go. Otherwise, they're just going to take up a lot of your emotional and psychic energy, and you will continue to be frustrated. You don't necessarily have to struggle, but they're going to take up so much of your mental real estate. There's really no room for anything left. What does it mean when only certain features of the person you like appear in a dream? This is one of those weird dreams where where you seemingly obsess about a particular physical feature of the person that you supposedly have a crush on. Maybe it's their hair, their eyes, their complete face. What makes it weird is you're not really seeing the whole person. In some cases, you're just looking at their hair. They never turn around. You just see them from the back, and they have this beautiful, gorgeous head of hair, and you're talking to them, and they seem to be talking to you. Whatever the case may be, you focus on only just one aspect of their total being. If you see this type of dream symbol, your subconscious is telling you that whatever it is you're striving for is built on an imperfect picture of reality. Your dream is not telling you to abandon your goal. Okay, let's get that out of the way. What it is telling you is that maybe you're assuming certain things that are not there. Maybe your assumptions are just unrealistic. Maybe your decision is based on faulty information. What your subconscious is telling you is you need to see the whole picture as much as you can and then make a decision. Now, keep in mind that this can be very tricky because this could be your subconscious playing tricks on you. It can be trying to trap you into believing that you need several pieces of information for you to finally commit. This is called analysis paralysis. You're thinking that there's certain pieces of information out there that as long as you can get your hands on them, your decision will pretty much make itself because all the risks will go away. You see how unrealistic this is? Know the difference. Know when you are dealing with just partial information and you realistically need more information so you can make a truly informed decision compared to playing this game with yourself where you give yourself excuse after excuse not to make a final decision. That's called analysis paralysis because you will never reach a point where you have all the information you need that will make all risks go away. For example, if you're trying to make an investment or you're trying to start a new startup company, it's a good idea to know everything you can about the industry as well as how your potential product lines up against your competitors. But you can only take that so far. You can't take that mindset to the point where you're expecting that there's this piece of data out there that once you get that data, it makes your product or your business an instant success. Life doesn't work that way. There will always be risks. So please understand the difference between analysis paralysis and basic information gathering so you can make an informed decision. There is a big difference. What does it mean when you see your crush in a green light? If you're attracted to somebody and it seems that their image has a green tint to it, your subconscious is telling you that you have to stop falling in love with new beginnings. What if I told you there are people out there that go into one commitment after another, not because they truly believe in those projects or those relationships, but they've just fallen in love with the initial stages of commitment. If it's in a business setting, you're in love with the startup energy and environment of a new company. If it's a relationship, you're in love with the idea of falling in love, but the hard work of maturing the relationship turns you off. Your subconscious is telling you through that green tint, which itself is a symbol, that you have to be more mature when it comes to your commitments. It's not always going to be sweet, awesome, and an adventure. It can get boring. It can get repetitive. Waiting for somebody to quote unquote grow up can take a long time and can get on your nerves. That's how relationships blossom because there's actually a lot of waiting involved and it's a two-way street. If you think you're waiting for your romantic partner to grow up, what do you think they're doing? They're probably doing the same for you, waiting for you to mature in a certain area of your own character. Do you see how this works? So a little bit of self-awareness goes a long way, and you really have to circle back to that idea of commitment. If you're getting into a relationship, are you willing to commit? If you're getting into a business opportunity, are you willing to commit? And commitment almost always requires sacrifice because wherever you devote your time, money, attention, or emotions to, automatically you're not investing all those resources into something else. So you have to weigh your options realistically and you have to commit. And what this means is if you say yes, or if you sign on the dotted line, you go all the way until conclusion. Maybe you end up selling the company, or it goes belly up, or the relationship goes nowhere, or it blossoms into a better relationship. Whatever the case may be emotionally and mentally ready to take it all the way. What does it mean to see your crush in a dream with someone else? Thankfully, these types of dreams are not prophetic. You're not having a dream about infidelity. Instead, your dream is about you losing interest. There is such a thing as the shiny object syndrome. This is how it works. You start on a project, you're all pumped up, you're operating at a peak level of energy, and there's a tremendous amount of emotional urgency. But as the days turn to weeks and the weeks turn to months, you start lagging. You start thinking to yourself, well, this journey is taking far longer than I had hoped. I was hoping for the big payout. I was hoping for this company to just blow up and its stock would be worth a lot of money, whatever the case may be. The rewards that you thought you were going to get when you started the project simply has not materialized yet. And there's a creeping suspicion that it might not even happen at all. You might even be thinking, I made the wrong choice. It is precisely this type of mindset that you are at your worst. This you really have to guard yourself when you find yourself in this type of situation. Why? It's so easy for something else to come along and draw your attention and give you the push you need to give up on your old project or old relationship or old commitments. This is called the shiny object syndrome because something comes along that seems shinier, newer, more vibrant, more interesting, and more exciting. It can be a new business opportunity or it can be a new relationship. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you have to realize that you have an opportunity to stick to what you committed to because you haven't gone all the way. You're just tired. You're just trying to figure it all out. And this is precisely the time where you are most vulnerable. Because what will happen when you take the shiny object opportunity? It's very simple. You let go of the burnout. You let go of the feeling that you're putting in all this time, effort, and energy, and nothing seems to be happening with that old commitment. So you turn your back to that, and now you start again, and things seem to be popping. Things seem to be happening. And then all of a sudden, you reach that same burnout stage. It begins to lag. Maybe you experience a setback. Maybe things don't work out as well as you had hoped. So here you are, lagging again, days blurring into each other, and you feel that you're throwing in good effort after bad. And then guess what happens at that time? That's right, another shiny object appears. Your subconscious is using the symbol of a crush being with someone else to highlight this very important danger that you face. I don't care what kind of project you're working on, you will run into the shiny object syndrome. And it's very deadly. Why? You give up everything to try one failed project after another, and before you know it, it's time for you to die. Your life has ended. And what do you have to show for it? You look over your shoulder at the life you've led, and what is there to see? That's right, the carcasses of one failed project or one failed relationship after another. That's all you have left. There's no legacy there because everything has failed, not because they were doomed to failure, but because you let them fail through your abandonment. That is the poison of the shiny object syndrome. Don't fall for it. What does it mean to dream about your crush marrying someone else? This is one of the scariest dreams you could ever have when it comes to dreaming about somebody you really care about or somebody you like. Again, just like seeing your crush with somebody else in your dream, this is not necessarily prophetic. What this dream speaks to is the fact that you are scared of the commitment it takes to actually marry your crush. Again, I'm talking symbolically here. You burn with jealousy because the person you have a crush on, married somebody else. They committed to somebody else. But your mental focus, as far as the signals your subconscious is sending you, has something to do with the commitment. They beat you to it. It is only the time that that you hear that they're getting married that you realize, I actually love her or him. By then, it's too late. Your subconscious is telling you that you have issues with commitment. If you're feeling lazy or you're procrastinating, these are symptoms of your unwillingness to commit. Everybody can commit. Let's just get that out of the way. Everybody can commit. Question is, do you want to? Are you willing to do it? What are you going to give up to do it? And you have to reach a point where you have to pull the trigger. You have to reach a point where you have to burn your ships behind you. You have to basically say to yourself, I'm going to go in this direction. And there are really only two outcomes, either yes or no, death or life, or victory or death. People don't put themselves in that situation, and that's why they're drifting. Their resources are stretched thin because they want to put a finger in every pie. They want to put their eggs all over the place instead of just one basket. Although I'm not saying you should put all your eggs in one basket, you have to commit. And now your mind is showing you that the time is getting closer and closer where you cannot commit anymore because the opportunity is deteriorating. That window is closing. So get to it. Do you really want it? If so, come up with a plan and put everything you've got on it. Otherwise, cut your losses while it's still early. Conserve whatever resources you have and put all that firepower into something that you truly believe in. Now is not the time to be wishy washy because, as it turns out, you don't have as much resources or as much time as you originally thought. What does it mean to dream about sex with your crush? Keep in mind that this is not a wet dream per se, nor is it a sexual fantasy. Instead, let's focus on the sex. Let's focus on the physical and emotional intensity of that act. Mm. A lot of people easily misconstrue or misunderstand this dream because they focus on, because they suffer from one key mistake. They assume that sex is commitment. As anybody who has downloaded Tinder or any other dating app, you know full well and have achieved some success with it. You know full well that just because you have sex with somebody doesn't mean you want to have a relationship with that person. It doesn't mean that you want to spend the rest of your life with that person or you see yourself sacrificing everything and anything just to be with that person forever. Unfortunately, when your subconscious is using sex as a symbol regarding your aspirations, you are under the impression that just because you have decided and that you have put in quite a bit of resources and you've taken a lot of risks, that this is enough to carry you through. You can't be any more wrong. You have to understand that the world doesn't work on a one time, big time kind of system. Sure, you made a big move. It's awesome that you invested a lot, but you have to keep going. You have to keep pushing forward. And just because you experience a setback and you invested a lot to push against that setback or make it go away, doesn't mean that you can now take your eyes off the wheel. It's all about commitment. And this means taking things all the way through and you have to be completely there. I'm talking about spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually. What does it mean to dream about someone from work or school? If the main focus of your crush dream or attachment or attraction dream is the identity of that person in terms of where they are from in your life, maybe from work or from school, this type of dream indicates your mindset regarding commitment. You may be the type of person who looks at their life in terms of neat, tidy little boxes. You say to yourself, well, I'm a Christian, so I'm a Christian on Sundays because that's when you go to church. Or I am an entrepreneur and I'm an entrepreneur only from 9 to 5 or only in the certain industries. Your subconscious is telling you that while this type of compartmentalized thinking may have served you well in the past, its usefulness has come to an end. You have to come up with a better model because when you compartmentalize your life, you actually end up living an imbalanced life because you're not seeing the big picture. You're not using a dynamic model in terms of where your focus should really go. Instead, you're thinking that life has to operate based on the rules that you have set for it. Well, your subconscious is telling you that whatever it is that you've set up, by focusing on whether the person is from work or from school, that this neat little divisions are no longer working, and things will start to implode unless you step in and divide in a decisive way. What does it mean to dream about your boss or coworkers? If you're dreaming about your boss or coworker in a crush type situation, your subconscious is trying to tell you regarding your ideas about authority. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about your parents here. I'm not talking about authority, traditional authority figures. I'm not even talking about religion. Instead, I'm talking about who you think has real authority over your hopes, wishes, and dreams. Now, a lot of people would instantly say that they are the final authority in their life. This, of course, is the conventional answer because this is what makes the most sense. But unfortunately, there's often a disconnect between the things that we say, because that's what we're supposed to say, and how we actually live out our lives. And it turns out that most people live their lives based on other people's validation. You're living out your life based on a script that maybe your parents wrote. Whatever the case may be, it isn't your script. You're just going through the motions. This is what the symbology of the boss or supervisor, coworker represent. It's about authority. And unfortunately, maybe you've gotten into the habit of basing authority over your life or sourcing that kind of authority from external sources. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't look to, if you're a Christian, the Bible, or if you're Buddhist, to Buddhist teachings, or if you're a religious person, external scriptural sources. I'm not talking about that. Instead, I'm talking about social pressure. I'm talking about living your life based on a screenplay that was written by people you're trying to impress. It really is a sad situation when we find ourselves spending money we don't have on stuff that we don't need to impress people we don't even like. That's the power of validation. So you have to be very careful where your external validation is coming from. You have to take full ownership of it. Otherwise, it has no business being your boss. It has no business driving your life. It has no business forming the screenplay of your day to day existence. You have to be intentional about this, and this all has to be a conscious choice. How do you know if a dream about your crush means that your crush likes you in your waking life? This is for people who think that their dreams are predictive in nature. And if you have a crush and you dream about your crush, pay close attention to how you behave around that person in your dream and how they behave. If their behavior is in any way, shape, or form realistic, then there might be some sort of predictive value, but I doubt it because, like I said, most of the time, these types of dreams are not prophetic. Instead, the focus here is more of reciprocity because a lot of people think that they're putting in all this time, effort, and energy, and their dream isn't rewarding them. Their dream is being stubborn. It's holding out. A lot of this really it boils down to honesty. Remember, the world works on reciprocity. You reap what you sow. Unfortunately, there's so many of us who feel that we are reaping with everything that we've got, and all we get in return is a pittance. It's nothing. Well, a lot of this is perception. Maybe you're just an impatient person. Maybe you are planting the wrong seeds. The key here is to focus on your ability to create your reality based on the actions and decisions you take every single day. Start there. What kind of seeds are you planting? What are your intentions in your planting? If you're able to figure out all these details, then you can trace them back or push them forward or project them forward to the results you're getting. And let me be clear, the universe will always reward you based on your effort. It doesn't happen overnight, and it takes shape in many different forms, but there is always a reaction. So ask yourself, if I keep doing the same things over and over again, do I really have any right to expect a different result? You have to think along these lines because otherwise you're going to be gripped with this looming sense of disappointment because no matter how you think you try or how hard the effort you're making, you're not getting the reward you're getting. This disconnect is really happening only inside your mind. The key here is to focus on the seed that you are planting so you can have a more realistic understanding of the harvest that's facing you in the future.